seems that a lot of people don't understand that all of the politicians in Washington have taken an oath of office to defend, protect, support, whatever, the Constitution of the United States. And what's your opinion about that? Do you feel like the Washington politicians are constantly thinking of their oath of office when they write legislation and vote? What do you think?
Probably not, but I think they should be. Article 6 of the U.S. Constitution requires all members of Congress to take an oath to uphold, protect, and defend the Constitution. My copy of the Constitution doesn't say they've got to take an oath to uphold, protect, and defend whatever set of rules the Supreme Court will allow them to get away with. It says the Constitution itself. So in my mind, that means they've got to look to the text. They've got to look to the document. They've got to look to the way it was written, the way it was understood by the founding generation, in order to understand whether or to what extent they're complying with that oath. And if they're not, then they're oath breakers.
Okay, would you also consider that to be an act of perjury as well? You're an attorney, aren't you? I
am an attorney.
Okay.
Look, anytime you take an oath and you knowingly break it, there are profound consequences for that. We wouldn't typically classify that as perjury, but we would classify that as oath breaking and a breach of public trust.
Okay. When we fill out a tax return, we have to sign swearing that all of the information is true, full, and correct, or under the penalties of perjury.
Right.
Now, a politician in Washington, does he also have to sign an oath of office too?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, what is that? Is there a special term for that you know of?
I think there's just a document accompanied with the oath of office indicating that they've signed it, and there may be a written version of it, I don't know.
Okay, what would you recommend would be an important thing to do for most people that might see this documentary to prepare themselves for voting in the next election?
Ask their members of Congress and all candidates who are seeking office, federal office of any kind. Will you follow the text of the Constitution? Whenever they're supporting or voting for or against any piece of legislation, ask them, what is it in Article 1, Section 8 that gives them the power to do this? If they can't answer that in one word or one sentence based on the text of the Constitution, they need to be released.
Okay, and one last question. What is the penalty for violating one's oath of office, or is there a penalty?
In this context, we're talking about violating an oath of office in a way that the courts might allow them to get away with. So there's no penalty that we're going to be able to enforce in court. But there is a different penalty called for by the Constitution, and that's called losing an election.
Okay. And one more thought on that. I have a friend who's a retired major general, and he says when a military person violates his oath of office, it's Leavenworth.
Right.
But I guess a politician is above that and doesn't need to worry about that.
Yeah. Perhaps they shouldn't be above that anymore.
Okay, great.
Maybe we ought to send some of them to Leavenworth as well.
Yes.